Again, it takes us to what I asked earlier on. There must be an event which we're good in. We cannot go to the games and say we're good in losing. That's what Nigerians can't really understand. The same athletics you talk about. Once when we talk about long distance, you talk about Kenya, off the cuff. 1, 2, 3, Kenya will always be there.
But the Kenyans are getting, they're being challenged by the Ethiopians.
But they're still very much at it. Now you talked about Jamaica and Nigeria in athletics. How can we stay on this? Now, over 5 million spectators welcomed Usain Bolt, and for a moment you wouldn't know it's athletics at the Olympics.
Well, when you talk about the Olympics, the first thing that comes to mind is track and field. Is the highest level for the celebration of the mastery of men on the track. The athletics event, the track event, basically, has come to symbolize the Olympics. The football is not such a big thing. It was because we are a football playing nation, so when we won the gold, it meant so much to us. But the truth is, it's the track that actually symbolizes what the Olympic is all about. The first thing that comes to mind when you say Olympics, oh, okay, you think about Usain Bolt, you just can't wait to see these guys run. Athletics is where we've got our ace, apart from football. Don't forget that there used to be a time when in a final like this you have at least one Nigerian. Sometimes you have 3, 4 Nigerians. You know, it used to be in the days of Chidi Imo, Daniel Effiong, the Ezingwa brothers, even Uchenna Medolu, then recently Olusoji Fasuba. Since Olusoji left us to go and compete for Britain now, we've not had a replacement. The other guys are not just up to it. I've had a lot of questions to ask about Obin Nami too. I'm still trying to research some things about Obin Nami too, whether he was, I remember I was part of Nuga in 1998, and it keeps occurring to me as if I saw a name that looked like that. So
you're trying to say if it's the same football on athletics?
In athletics. So I'm just trying to, you know, find out if it's the same, you know, person and all of that. So that tells you the sort of problems we have here. Secondly, I think that we are not focusing where we should be focusing on. In 2010, I attended the federal, the Unity Games, the Federal Colleges Games, and it was a contest, a championship, where you had all the Unity schools, all the 102 Unity schools competing. And I must tell you that there are outstanding talents in the Unity schools. I think that the Unity schools have a tradition for sports. And it amazes me that in recent time you can't point to one person that has been picked from there. The other thing is the first generation schools, especially in Lagos, used to produce the best athletes, the best footballers for us. But where are they now? Why is it that the first generation schools, secondary schools, aren't producing anymore? I think there's a systemic failure. The Nigerian project, there's a systemic failure. So it's not just in other areas. The systemic failure is affecting every other thing. Sports. Someone will always say, I have a bias for football. Have you noticed that the quality of footballers we are producing lately has dropped? And the inability of Lagos State, for instance, to have a top flight team, a team in the top flight of Nigerian football, is consistent with the breakdown, the erosion of playing grounds. Okay, the CMS Grammar School, one of the biggest playing grounds in the whole of Lagos, was shut down in a way after it was handed over. After it was handed back to the missionaries who owned the school, and they've shut the place off for the public. The Vokes playing ground in Ojo for football has been shut down also. A whole lot of St. Finbar's College is not something you just walk into there and play football. So, we are losing our playing grounds. We are losing areas where people could train. Despite the fact that the Lagos State government is investing so much money in building astroturfs and building centers, these are closed centers. When you invest massively in that sort of thing, you want to protect it also.
Is that a problem with the continent? Because one wonders, if you look at it, you look at the 5 top countries on the table: China, US, Great Britain, Republic of Korea, France, and it goes on and on. You hardly find any African country on that.
Well, the leading African country there is Ethiopia, 2 gold medals, long distance race. That's where they got the niche. They've been working at it. The Kenyans used to dominate. But I think that all the countries in the East Africa and Horn of Africa region can do anything in that area, whether it's 3,000 steeplechase or 10,000 meters or 1,500 or 10,000 meters or the marathon. They are very good at it. The Ethiopians have found out that they could challenge the Kenyans, and they are doing that. So you would have expected that the Kenyans would be ahead, you know, in that event, but it is the Ethiopians that are picking the medals there. The South Africans, they've done a bit well in swimming, you know, and I think they can also compete in the long distance races because of the altitude. Nigeria can compete in the long distance races though, but we have not exploited the opportunity. We've not exploited what Mambila Plateau offers us because the high altitude area.
Honestly, you're right, because it's truly sad. Look at the tables. So every time you look at it, even when you have an increase, it's either any of these 5 having an increase or trying to dominate the other. And truly, talking about the Mambila Plateau, it reminds us of what we have in places like Kenya, and how these athletes have been able to, well, grab that opportunity to use such as a training facility for themselves. We haven't done any of that. But what's the encouragement in closing? What kind of encouragement can we get from the Sports Commission when they finally come back from this tournament?
Well, you'll be surprised that the same thing that happened in preparation for these Olympics will happen when we begin preparation for Rio in 2016. The same thing. The same 3 months camping, 3 months preparation and all of that. That is another delusion you just talked about, the National Sports Commission. It does not exist. There's no National Sports Commission. And I think I'll blame a lot of journalists for this, the sports writers, who keep on harping on these things that don't exist. The NFF does not exist, the Sports Commission does not exist. For these things to exist, you need a force of law. It's just a sports ministry. So you hear things like sports minister and chairman of sports commission. It does not exist. It's just a sports minister. There's no commission. Commissions are created by act of parliament or by a decree.
But are individuals manning such positions there in a non-existent commission, right?
It's a delusion, and I don't know why everybody keeps, you know, you confer status, you confer legitimacy as journalists when you keep using these terms. The Sports Commission would have been a good idea to help, you know, build these things. When we were doing well, we had a sports commission,
well, anyway,
but now we don't have one.